Today's lesson is about how to evaluate trig functions in a unit circle for radian. Step 1. Find its coterminal angle between 0 to 2 pi by adding 2 pi times n or minus 2 pi times n, which means we use 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, or 8 pi, keep going. Step 2, QRS means quadrant, reference angle, and sign is positive or negative. So first of all, how to decide quadrant when the angle is in radian for special angles. First of all, we know this is 0, pi over 2. This is pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. We assume that pi over n, this n is 6, 4, or 3. Then for the second quadrant, here is the pattern. N minus 1 pi over n, which means when n equals 6, top will be 5 pi. If this is a 4, then you have 3 pi, and if n equals 3, you have 2 pi. For third quadrant, here's the pattern, so that you can get the 7 pi over 6, 5 pi over 4, and 4 pi over 3. For fourth quadrant, this will be the pattern 2n minus 1 pi over n. Therefore, if n equals 6, you get the 2 times 6 minus 1 means 11 pi over 6. If here's a 4, you get the 7 pi over 4. N equals 3, you got the 5 pi over 3. So remember this pattern, it's so easy to figure out in which quadrant. So how to figure out the reference angle? You can use this formula to figure out the reference angle. Or remember that if you have n pi, that means your reference angle will be 0. If you have n pi over 2, then your reference angle will be pi over 2. If you have n pi over 3, then your reference angle will be pi over 3. If you have n pi over 4, then your reference angle will be pi over 4. If you have n pi over 6, then it will be pi over 6. All this angle I'm talking about is simplified. That's the pattern. Now let's go to guided practice. For number 1, we're looking for cosine negative 4 pi over 3. So first of all, remember that we need an angle between 0 to 2 pi. By add or subtract 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, and keep going. Therefore, for negative 4 pi over 3, I need to add 2 pi. Then we do over 1, and a denominator multiply will be 3. Then we do cross multiply. Here you go get negative 4 pi. You got the 6 pi. Therefore, you got the 2 pi. So for 2 pi over 3, Then we go to QRS. Quadrant, that will be second quadrant, because you know that's a n minus 1 pi over n pattern. For reference angle, denominator is 3, that's why it's pi over 3. And sine, remember that all students take a calculus. Since I'm looking for cosine, so cosine for second quadrant is negative. Therefore, your answer will be negative cosine pi over 3. Pi over 3 is 60 degrees. That's why you get the negative 1 over 2. That's the answer. Now let's go to second question. Sine 29 pi over 6. So we go to 29 pi over 6. You know 29 divided by 6 is will be 4 pi something. It will be 4 something. That's why you will go to subtract 4 pi. Then over 1. You figure out denominator multiplied by is 6. Cross multiply 29 pi. Then this one is minus 24 pi. You will get the 5 pi. 5 pi over 6, so that we can go to QRS. Quadrant, still second quadrant. Reference angle, denominator is 6, that's why it's pi over 6. Let's go to all students take calculus. We are looking for sine. So for sine. Then check all students take a calculus. For second quadrant, sine will be positive. So your answer will be positive sine pi over 6. Pi over 6 will be 30 degrees. That's how you will get the 1 over 2. Let's go to number 3. We're looking for tangent negative 11 pi over 2. Negative 11 pi over 2. You know that is reference angle will be pi over 2. And we know tangent pi over 2 means tangent 90 degrees is undefined. So this you don't have to work out. That will be undefined. Because positive undefined, negative undefined is still undefined. Let's go to last question. 31 pi over 6. 31 divided by 6, you will get 5 pi something. So you need to subtract 4 pi. If you subtract 6 pi, you will get the negative. We need the angle between 0 to 2 pi. Therefore, I do over 1. Denominator multiplied by is 6. Then you do cross multiply 31 pi minus 24 pi. So you get the 5 pi. For 5 pi over 6, we know that QRS, that will be second quadrant, because that's n minus 1 pi over n. And reference angle will be pi over 6. Then we go to all students take a calculus. I'm looking for cosine. So cosine for second quadrant is negative. That's why we got negative cosine pi over 6. That means negative square root of 3 over 2. Let's do more example. This time, let's talk about minor trig functions. So for cosecant, that means you need to figure out major trig function sine negative 31 pi over 6. Then I can do the reciprocal of this value. We can get the cosecant. For negative 31 pi over 6, 31 divided by 6, you will get 5 pi something. Therefore, you need to add 6 pi so that you can get the positive. Remember in your mind, we need to get the from 0 to 2 pi. That's our coterminal angle we need to figure out. Therefore, you have denominator multiply, then you cross multiply negative 31 pi plus 36 pi. So you get the 5 pi over 6. For 5 pi over 6, we go to QRS. Still, we go to second quadrant. Reference angle definitely is pi over 6. Sine, we go to all students take calculus. I'm looking for sine in the second quadrant. That means positive. Therefore, I will get the positive sine pi over 6. Pi over 6 is 30 degrees. Therefore, you get the 1 over 2. Now, when I flip 1 over 2, I got positive 2. That's the answer for cosecant negative 31 pi over 6. Now, let's go to secant 17 pi over 3. This is a minor trig function. We need to change into major one. That's a cosine 17 pi over 3. Then we can do the reciprocal of this value to get secant 17 pi over 3. So for 17 pi over 3, 17 divided by 3, that's 5 point something. So you need to minus 4 pi. Remember, you need to minus 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, that's even number pi, to get the coterminal angle between 0 to 2 pi. So I put the over 1. Then you can do cross multiply. Denominator is 3. This is 17 pi minus 12 pi. That's you get the 5 pi over 3. Then we go to QRS. Quadrant, that's a fourth quadrant because that's 2n minus 1 pi over n pattern. Reference angle is pi over 3. For the sine, we're looking for cosine. Fourth quadrant, that's a positive. Therefore, you got positive cosine pi over 3. That's a cosine 60. So it means 1 over 2. Therefore, I flip, I got the 2. That's the answer. Now let's go to last example. Cotangent 31 pi over 4. So it's a related major trig function will be tangent 31 pi over 4. For 31 pi over 4, 31 divided by 4, you will get 7 something. Therefore, you subtract 6 pi. Then we do cross multiply to the top. I got 31 pi minus 24 pi. Your denominator is 4. 31 pi minus 24 pi means 7 pi. So you will get QRS. Quadrant is a fourth quadrant because that's a 2n minus 1 pi over n pattern. Then reference angle is pi over 4. Look at the sign. We're looking for tangent in fourth quadrant. That's a negative. Because look at only cosine is positive. So you will get the negative tangent pi over 4. That's a negative 1. So reciprocal of negative 1 equals negative 1. This is the final answer for cotangent 31 pi over 4.